Really sweet. And we're back, and we are going to be doing some work on a brand new Hpi Venture. Now, I have featured a Hpi Venture on the channel before. We did an unboxing and a video on some features and a head-to-head with some of the others, but this one is a brand new, out of the box, red brushless flux version that we picked up. And this one here in particular comes with a new Hpi Wing system in it. So it has a new Hpi Wing brushless system. The original first run of these came with the FuriTech system. I'm not exactly sure why they changed, but the FuriTech system was supposed to be waterproof, but it turns out it was not, and the ESC and stuff was having problems and burning up from what I understand, and even my experience with some. So now we have them with all equipped with the Hpi Wing system, which was the Hpi Wing's new Mini 24. It's actually a pretty excellent system, and it works pretty good. Got an outrunner motor, same as the original. And what we're going to do with this truck is we just got a whole pile of HPI hop-up parts. We have 99% of all the HPI hop-up parts that they make for this truck to this point. This is just all stuff that HPI makes. They're all available now. You should be able to find them at multiple websites, local hobby shops for sure. You should be able to find these hop-ups. And we're going to install as many of these on this truck as we can, and we're going to make a display truck for the local hobby shop. So we're going to see what we got. Some of these parts are kind of unique. There's some pretty cool parts. If you want some bling, some customization, even want to enhance the performance, there's things like ball bearing kit, aluminum transmission housing, your typical, there's some brass. We also have a portal kit that you can put on this. I have yet to decide if we're going to do a portal kit on this truck or keep it straight axle. May do the portal kit just to see how we can get a little bit more clearance. But this truck doesn't need portals, and this is one of HPI's best releases in many, many years, even though it's kind of based on another platform. This is great. The way that they're branding everything, the way they're marketing the whole truck. Support parts have been pretty good so far. It has taken a while to get enough of the trucks, but they've been selling very well. So the first thing we're going to attack on this is we're going to do transmission, shifting servo mount, start with some ball bearings because we're going to upgrade the whole entire truck to ball bearings. And we're going to also do links because they are attached to the skid plate. So we're going to do skid plate. So we're going to start in the middle and work our way outwards to the other pieces. So here's the transmission case pieces. It also comes with all the hardware, and even if you didn't want to do the entire ball bearing kit, it comes with ball bearings for a lot of these upgrades. Next thing we're going to install is this awesome looking little skid plate. We got these awesome little high clearance link sets. These are pretty typical with most crawlers, but these are going to look pretty good. Give a little bit of clearance. It's going to look real good, guys. We got the shifting servo mount in orange. Looks really good. I got to get that fit in there. We got the HPI steel drive shafts front and rear. We got the transmission all installed. This one you got to be careful with. There's a lot of small pins and bushings in there, and we're changing them to bearings. Also got to watch out, there's some shims you need to add. So the center section of this is done. Now we can work our way out. I think just looking at this, probably the next thing we could go ahead and change is the shock towers. They have some really cool shock towers. Everything is going together great. So now we are down to doing the axles housings, steering, servo, steering upgrades. So here's what we got for some axle pieces. So we got the machined axle housing for the front, machined axle housing for the rear, We have portal axle upgrades. That's right, portal axle. And we got the portal knuckle covers in aluminum orange. We also have brass diff covers and brass hexes. There is some other parts that I am not going to put on here because you can do straight axle upgrades or portal axle upgrades. They also make the straight axle upgrades, so you have the rear hub set that goes on the end of the axle. It's in an orange aluminum. We also have the steering spindle set. Aluminum, does come with bearings. And then the C hubs. Well, we're going to do a portal axle on this, so we don't need these parts. These parts are if you want to keep it as a straight axle truck, which it actually performs really well as a straight axle truck. Here's the front axle housing and the diff cover that it comes with, which is orange. We're going to change that to brass. All right, we got the portal knuckles, portal outer covers in aluminum orange that we got to swap the gears into. These covers and everything come with the complete bearings and shims and everything. Plus we already have bearing kits. We're going to have a lot of extra bearings left over after we do all this stuff. But it's nice to know they come with it. The portals already come with bearings in them, so they're kind of doubling up on the bearings here. So we got the aluminum steering link on there and the servo. We haven't centered the servo yet, but everything is looking really sweet. There's the rear axle with the aluminum portal covers and hubs. Got a full set of aluminum threaded shocks. Everything's aluminum. The cap, the lower cap, the shock body, everything except for the shock shaft. Pretty nice little shock setup. Comes with all the brass bushings and all the mounting hardware, complete set. There's the front axle all installed, and shocks. New steering servo, new power hobby 59 mg. Still just got to center that sucker. Looking pretty good. Get the rear axle put in. Okay, I have mounted up one of the aftermarket steel wheels with the brass ring, and I've mounted up the stock wheels with the internal brass ring option. I would say that the internal brass ring option is heavier than the steel wheel with the brass ring. Also, the wheel sits, if you can see, the steel wheel sits a little bit narrower, so it gets you a little more of a puffy tire than the stock wheel. Alright guys, we have everything installed and we are just in the process of going over a few things that I encountered while assembling this, of a few things that don't actually work together. So in this truck, if you were to do the straight axle kit without doing the portals, pretty much every single thing works pretty much flawless with no problems, except for if you're doing straight axle and you do these brass brake weights, you know, which is a hex, called a brake weight because it looks like a brake. This hex will not work with the steel wheels. So we installed a steel wheel, put one together, so I wanted to see how they looked. And the steel wheels will not work with the brass brake weight because this is the hub for it. And if you look on the back, how that hub is made, and in order to make this work, you can see the wheel has to be similar to this, so it sits inside like that. These cannot do that. So you cannot use the steel wheels with the brass brake weights on the straight axle. So you cannot use this hex, which is the standard hex for straight axle, or this one, which is for straight axle, with the portal axles, because these are actually narrow from side to side, and the portal axles are actually wider. So when you go to bolt the wheels on, whether it's this wheel with this hex or this wheel with this hex or the plastic short hexes, you can't use them because the axle is too long and the wheels won't tighten. So as you tighten them up, there's a gap between the nut and the wheel wobbles. So you have to use the stock portal axle hexes that come with the portal axle kit in order to make that work, which is kind of a bummer because you also can't use the knuckle weights with. You also cannot use this knuckle weight kit with the portals. This knuckle weight kit is only for the straight axle version. On front or rear it will bolt on, and you can add weight either way there. It will work on both front and rear, and you can add weight there if you're going to just leave the axles as a straight axle. If you do the portal, these holes don't line up, so you can't use these on the portals. So that was a bummer. And then you can't add any extra weight there. So the way you have to do it is plastic wheel with these rings. And these rings work with the plastic wheels only. They're super wide, and these rings are actually quite heavy. Nice little piece. And then they're even heavier than the steel wheels with this brass ring. The other thing I'm going to show you here, if we turn this truck around, is the steel wheels are a lot narrower, so you get a different look. So there's steel black, there's the plastic chrome. I think this truck doesn't look very good with the black wheels. I really thought it would, but it doesn't. These wheels are not really anything special, so they're not that fancy looking either. And they're also very narrow, so they also, when they squeeze real tight, they narrow up the tire, make it look smaller, and suck it in quite a bit tighter, and I don't like that look. So nothing wrong with the wheels. They're pretty inexpensive if you want to do that, to have some bead locks with the brass rings. I just don't like the looks of them with these tires, and I don't like them with the red body. I think they probably look good on the black truck. We are going to go brass rings all the way around inside the plastic wheels for now, and then I ordered a whole bunch of 2mm shims so that we can get the wheel nut on there and be able to use these for a little bit extra weight. So the only way you could do it is if you put a shim under the nut, and then that'll make the wheel tighten down appropriately. And you can see here that hex, how far it sticks out. This is the thickness of the stock hex, and that's why the wheel won't tighten down. Same with the brass weight. It's just not enough to tighten down. The nut tightens onto the end of the stub axle where the threads stop, and then the wheel doesn't tighten. Alright guys, we got this one all done. There's a few little touch-ups we want to do, but for the most part, everything fit and finished really well. Except I wish we could have done the weights as I described, but that's okay. I did find some brass portal covers that should fit this. I will update that in a later video to make sure that everything I ordered is compatible. I'm pretty sure the Hobby Plus stuff is, but before I say it is or isn't, I want to confirm, and I had to order it from a weird place. So the Hobby Plus brand is not as available as the HPI stuff is going to be. So you can check this out. This thing turned out really nice. It looks good. It was fun to just go ahead and stick all the bling on the truck all at once. All brand new. It's kind of fun. Totally unnecessary. Something you don't need to do, especially all at once. It's quite expensive. Adds up real quickly, but we are doing this for a display truck for the local hobby shop so that we can sell parts and show people what everything is, because there is always questions, what does what goes where. And so we thought we would do that for this rig right here, and then after it's a little while we will run it and see how it performs. But we have another HPI project that we've already been working on. That one's going to be more of our crawler and little 18 scale comp rig we're going to use. Anyway guys, hope you liked this video. This was just kind of like a video to be informative, to see what you can do, show you what's out there for the little HPI Venture. And Yeah, so always you can get all these parts at your local hobby shop. HPI is distributed by HRP, and they sell to a lot of local hobby shops. So if you're looking for these parts, always check local first. Even the trucks, if for some reason you can't get to a local hobby shop, I do have affiliate links in the description below to where you can get links to AMain and do some purchases there, and anything you do there does help out the channel a little bit. So, well, like, subscribe, and share, and thanks for watching.